Okay, hello. Today we're going to talk about a lesson plan about relative clauses. So for these lesson plans, uh, it's a lesson that it will last for 5 minutes. It's for students of second baccalaureate and that has an intermediate level of English. So we can start with the objectives of the lessons, that they identify new vocabulary by listening short presentation, recognize when we use relative clauses by making sentences, improve their pronunciation by reading a story about environment, and identify and apply the grammatical structure of the relative clauses by putting in order some sentences. So in this case, we are going to talk about relative clauses and environment. So students are going to understand how the environment works and what happened, what are the problems that we have in these days with environment. So the methodology that we're going to use for this class is the flipped classroom method, the direct method, the communicative language teaching method, and audiolingual method. Oh, and of course the total physical response method. Okay. The materials, the strategies that we are going to use are that they are going to work in group and then individually, and also they are going to use supplementary materials like facts about global warming, a vocabulary flashcards, and a story about the environment, and a poster of relative clauses, and the student's book. Okay, so to introduce the class, students are going to play a game called Trivia Game. So the teacher is going to read to the students some facts of an important environmental event like the global warming. So students have to guess what event is teacher talking about. And they have to guess. I like to start with a game because in this way the students motivate them so they can learn in a better way. They are motivated and they are funny, and I like to be creative in my lesson plan, so I like that students feel well so they can have a significant learning. Then as a warm-up activity, where a teacher is going to choose a picture of a word of the vocabulary of the unit, and the student is going to do a mimic or act to their classmates, and the class have to guess what word we're talking about. Okay, so in this activity, they are going to improve like a little bit of the speaking skills, and also we're going to use the total physical response method. So also with this activity, students are going to introduce with the vocabulary of the unit, and so they can understand in a better way how about the environment and what happened with it. As the second activity, students are going to open their student's book, like on page 24, and they are going to listen a short conversation about environment, and they have to complete the activity. So they are going to listen the conversation 2 times to complete the activity and to check the answers. So this activity help them to develop their listening skills of a native speaker, so they can understand in a better way a native person when they talk English with a native person. Then the teacher, as I say before in the other video of the past model lesson plan, the teacher have to give a feedback. So the teacher is going to explain the relative clauses, so by using a informative poster. After the explanation, students are going to read a story about the environment that is called wild weather. And besides, they have to put in order some sentences that talk about the story using relative clauses. Okay? In this activity, they are going to work in groups, and in the second part is individually. Okay? And finally, students are going to play a game called Previous Sentence Building Challenge. So in this activity, the teacher is going to write some words on the board. So the first student is going to choose a word and have to form a sentence. Then the next student is going to add information to the sentence of the first student using relative clauses and without changing anything from the original sentence. Okay, and this activity allows a student to improve their speaking skills, their pronunciation, their form of the grammatical structures of sentences. So it will help them a lot in a funny way. Okay, they are going to play, they are going to get fun, and of course they are going to learn. And at the end of the class, the teacher is going to answer any questions that students have about relative clauses. Okay, and also students are going to have a homework that is completed exercise 4 and 5 of the page 25 from the students' books. So in this lesson plan, the activities that are going to help to evaluate the students is the writing part, because it shows if the students understand how to construct a sentence a sentence with relative clauses, and also the speaking activity, because with this game, the teacher can assess or can evaluate not only the pronunciation, but if the students know how to use the past models and when to use it. Okay, and to close the class, the teacher is going to answer any that students are going to have. Okay, I think that this lesson is very important because it allows a student not only to listening, but in the speaking area, it will help them a lot, so they can learn to speak fluently with other people and without having fear of it. So thank you very much.